For political platform on Repa FM, my name is Amit Chanapwe. Well, the Chatham House, the actual name is the Royal Institute for International Affairs in London. It's more popularly referred to as Chatham House. It will play host to Rabiu Musa Kwamposo, the presidential candidate of the NMPP. He hopes to go there today to unveil his plans, policy program-wise, with the rest of the world, once he hopes to implement if he wins the presidential election in Nigeria in March 25. Well, it was the turn of INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, yesterday to address the Chatham House. He told us what we already know, that he confirmed actually that INEC is planning mock accreditation process across the country ahead of the election, because this is the first time beavers will be deployed across the country. We have seen it in governorship off-season election and legislative off-season election. He also gave assurances, perhaps this one before the whole world, that elections will hold as scheduled. So we can now take it to the bank. In the meantime, back home, the candidates have been busy. Atiku Abubakar was in Ado-Ekiti yesterday, and his campaign trail will move over to Ogun State, that's Abeokuta, the state capital, this morning, trying to wrap up, activities in the southwest. A Labour Party is heading to Kaduna today, the northwest part of the country. CBN governor to meet with governors tomorrow, even as his status is still uncertain and unknown. And so these are the stories will be sharing with you. Tinubu, APC candidate, was in Ilori, Kwara State yesterday. Of course, Ilori, Kwara State is APC held state, and the governor there will indeed be hoping to get re-elected. Let me welcome my colleagues that will join me in analysis today. We have Teve Tiaf, we have Hizo Jemomo, we have Sholaja Isimi, and we have Abulo Semuagu. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. The president is also speaking of $1 billion used to recapture territories from bad guys.
Amici, good morning. Good morning, my colleagues. Good morning, dear listener. Well, we heard the INEC chairman speaking yesterday at Chatham House. He said a lot, and what we already know, and one that we didn't know about. He talked about body odor. The INEC will be considering in the future the use of body odor as a biometric. What we are using now is finger and face biometric to check, to verify voters. And he said his technologist engineers presented that to him, and he told them to hold it on. Let's get accustomed to the use of finger and facial biometric. Well, that's a good one. And I think moving forward, INEC has a responsibility to bring in easier identification of voters. And he also talked about diaspora voting. And that brings to question, what is our Diaspora Commission doing? What is the Foreign Affairs Ministry doing to know the number of Nigerians abroad? If you go to a country in the West, in Asia, they will tell you the number of their citizens that are in Africa, number of their citizens that are in Nigeria. How many can Abike Debre tell you how the population of Nigerians in US alone? She cannot tell you. So if you are talking about bringing diaspora voting, I think we have a long way to go on that. I mean, that conversation will be for another day. Because if people are campaigning and they go abroad to campaign, and some people get funds to support their campaign abroad, there is hope that diaspora voting will happen one day. But this one has to be done first. We need to know the population of Nigerians abroad, population of voting age Nigerians abroad, documenting them.
Perhaps it's
even if
from
National Bureau of
countries.
Statistics should tell us first. These are the Nigerians in UK, Nigerians
maybe
in
the National Population Commission.
Good.
The number of Nigerians in Cameroon, in Sudan,
exactly.
They run into millions.
So that we should start from there before we ever think of going into diaspora voting, because somebody has described us as fantastically corrupt. So if we don't know these details and we just jump and say in the next 4 years we're going to diaspora voting, I think we're going to run into trouble. And the INEC chairman also emphasized the issue of the number of voters, and he emphasizing that young persons are more in the voting population. 93 million voters, Amici. That is a combination of about 2 or 3 or 4 countries in Africa. So we're a big country, big democracy. We need to make it work.
The biggest democracy in Africa.
We need to make it work.
Beat your chest. It's the biggest democracy in Africa.
I don't and while not holding brief for Abikadabri, I don't think it's Abika's responsibility. And the fact remains that citizens of this, nationals of this country, they're huge. They are not, many of them hold dual nationality. The number one thing for diaspora voting to happen is an amendment of the Constitution and the Electoral Act to make that happen. Once those two things do not happen, then it will be fantasy in the hearts of those who want to stay abroad and not physically vote. There must be physical presence in Nigeria. You must be accredited. You must have a voting right at a particular polling unit before you can vote. So amendment of the Constitution is the number one thing. Then we now begin to build from there. Many of those who are out there, we were out there, sometime not too long ago, and we saw many who said, look, I would love to vote in this election. In fact, I sat with a couple of younger friends who were here years ago but left this country, came to visit me. And they said, bros, this thing, though, I know who I prefer. They made their preferences and all that. But they said, bros, because of this election, I cannot travel down to Nigeria to come and vote. I would have loved to do it, but these are the encumbrances that these Nigerians face. Some of them now have green cards, blue card, whatever kind of card, as permanent residents.
Red passport, pink passport.
Thank you very much. So we need to look at that. And unfortunately, the National Assembly is doing, or I don't know whether I can use the past tense, was doing a constitutional amendment process that wasn't factored in. So you were at the 2004 National Conference. 14 rather. That was a key point. That was a selling point. But of course, the administration that came later said, we don't know about that report. So we'll continue to talk until those who are at the helm of affairs believe that this huge strength of people, this huge number, millions of them all across the world. There's a saying that there's no country you go to in this world that you won't find a Nigerian. It's a myth out there, but it's true because people are in Iceland. The Nigerian is in Iceland, from what I know. I don't know whether there's anybody in Antarctica as I speak, but so we don't need to deprive this person of opportunity to decide what happens in their country, even if they don't reside there. They send remittances home, and we brag about the remittances.
As big as our annual budget.
Yes, $18 billion sent home from remittances. So these are issues we need to trend on. INEC chairman has no choice, and him and his colleagues, the 12 of them, the recs and the directors and admin, all of them, they have no choice than to deliver. So if he goes to Chatham House and says, we will do this, he has no choice. He just has to deliver. And posterity will hold him if he delivers, and also blame him if he does not deliver.
Good morning, Amici. Good morning, colleagues. Let me begin with the issue of diaspora voting. Amici, the truth of the matter is that there are a lot of Nigerians that you will never get on that record. The record that you are talking about.
That's why I said we must first document them.
They won't come out. I leave the country illegally and you want me to come out abroad so that once I come out, you can send me back here. Most Nigerians won't come out. I know that there's a...
Yes, you have to... the host country has to document them first. Then we work with those host country to have them documented.
Well, Amechi, I don't
on our own part.
The host country that you're talking about, you know how Nigerians... In fact, once they see a law enforcement agent...
They're off.
So how
you're right. Many of them are not known to their host... That's why they're called undocumented. They are in those countries, but the host country don't have their records.
So now we are saying we want records. That's what we are saying. We want records now. I'm now saying that because most of the Nigerians, not all Nigerians are, because I know that I listened to Abikadabri say that currently there's a process to register more Nigerians who are in the diaspora. There's a data currently being put together. Yes, being put together, and that's why the numbers that they give are those ones that have come out, to register. So I'm hoping that the issue of diaspora voting, well, at least those ones that have been documented, maybe we'll start from there.
Yes.
But I will tell you that number, we can never know the number of Nigerians that are outside.
In truth, we have 200 million, over 200 million citizens, but those that vote are those that are registered.
I was asking if you have a Nigerian in Antarctica. trust me, a Nigerian is there. Anywhere in the world, you will find a Nigerian. You just need to, spot the person. Then, still on the issue of diaspora and issues that have to do with education. Even yesterday I think it was at the House of Reps, the issue of the NYSC, those who go out, school and all of that. That's another issue, still being debated. In fact, it caused so much, uproar. They had to suspend it, take it back, so the issue of diaspora, I mean, the focus.
So what describe the issue?
The issue was about those who go out to school, and then when they have gone past the age, and then you need to come and serve here, and whether you need to be a matter of choice, or whether, because you remember that this issue affected Kemi. I think it affected Kemi Adeosun, and it was something that at the end of the day she just had to, because of the issues, resign.
Okay.
And so that issue is being put forward so that those coming ahead will not suffer same fate. So what I'm just saying is that the issue of diaspora is giving focus, and the INEC chairman has said for now they won't vote. But I know that over time, Amechi, those numbers that you have will eventually maybe get to be able to vote. Okay. The issue that Abu also raised on this technology for detecting
body odor for the future.
Well, for the future, I just hope that those machines will not get confused.
He's just giving an instance. For there are 3 processes, Teve, involved in elections in Nigeria, at least voting processes. One is accreditation, the second is voting proper, the last one is results transmission. We have digitized and used electronics for voter registration. We are yet to use electronic voting. Kaduna State tried it out. But for electronic transmission of results, we'll be using it on a national scale in 2013. So 2 out of 3.
2023.
Yes, 2 out of these 3 critical points have gone electronic. We are waiting for the time. The midpoint, which is the biggest one, will also go electronic. But some say it's a matter of time. That's just what the INEC chairman was saying yesterday. That apart from even electronic voting, you can use other features, digital features like your body heat, whatever, to accredit. Things change so fast across the world, especially technology.
I agree with you. Good morning, listener. Most of us were of the opinion that our democracy is growing, and we'll get there. Even the diaspora voting, if we get to a point where there will be a national consensus on it, everybody would know that it's time for the diaspora to vote. Just like even in this election, everybody knows that it's time for the physically challenged persons, inclusive elections, to vote.
We have made a lot of progress. On that.
So by the time we almost perfect the election process, where everybody or majority of Nigerians have confidence in the process, that no matter where you take it, even if you take the ballot box to hell, you still come back with the right result. Yeah, you can be sure that indeed everybody will key into diaspora voting. I mean, you and I and all of us here, have been to Nigerian missions abroad, and we see what goes on there. If you interact with those that are there, I have stayed in a number of those missions, and I can tell you, we need to grow before we take any ballot paper or ballot box to the so-called diaspora for them to vote. I'm for diaspora voting, but we will mature and get to that point where they will.
Nigerians outside, Nigerians in diaspora prefer to come back here to renew their passport than do it outside there. It's an uphill tax. It's just they put heavy 10 bags of cement on your head and ask you to climb my Kilimanjaro. How will you so it's so difficult. The services our foreign mission render to Nigerians in diaspora is pitiable. Perhaps funding are part of it. In my almost 10-decade stay at the State House as correspondent, I was privileged to travel with all the presidents from Obasanjo to Jonathan. When even as a main party traveling with the presidential jet or as advanced party, by the time you arrive, the reception those embassy officials will give you is a bit lukewarm. Once the president is around, they become like a wonderful father. The moment the president leaves you, if you're an advanced party, you have to travel after the president. They abandon you. You're on your own. So it's always like that. These are things we need to strengthen over time.
Over time, before eventually, we get to that point that we can trust that the ballot paper, or the ballot box that is taken there will come back with the integrity that it went with. So that is it. On the other issues, I'm concerned that perhaps he threw up the issue himself, the INEC chairman, the rep, where they talked about, what's it called now? Postponement of elections.
Yes.
Anywhere he goes now, that is what he's talking about. But, he shot himself in the foot. And the fact that he is insisting, I don't think there is any need for him to insist that the elections would hold on the 25th or the 11th. The law is very clear, the constitution is very clear. He has up to April 29th for conduct of the elections. If there are any issues, you should not, because he said elections will not be. Besides, he has postponed this particular election. He has postponed it already. He has postponed it before now.
How?
Don't forget, after the 2015 election, they announced election dates. The election will be held second or third week of February or so. This election was supposed to hold on February 18.
Yes.
And with the new
Electoral Act, the National Assembly wasted time in amending the Electoral Act.
So
a provision in the Electoral Act says INEC must give 1 year notice before election. And while the National Assembly and the President were wasting time, it caught up with the earlier time. So it's not the Nigerian Palace doing of the INEC.
No, what I'm saying is the election has been postponed
yes,
before.
but they were forced.
But I am worried that you are talking this way. Let's give him benefit of the doubt. He's the man in the High of Affairs. He's telling you, he's beating his chest, telling you that election will hold, and you're telling me he shouldn't say that, and the election is already postponed.
No, what I'm saying
the movement from 18 to 25 is to accommodate the time the National Assembly used in amending the Electoral Act.
There could be the uneventful.
Now, when he's confident that he's going to write his exam that day, and he will pass. I don't expect us helping him to bring what is not there. He's telling you he's going to write his exam 25th, and he will pass. So let's give him benefit of the doubt. Let's agree with him.
But you can also interrogate whatever thing you say.
Even if he has window, even if he has that window before the May 29th, let's give him benefit of the doubt.
But what is important? I understand the strong point you're making. Yesterday, the National Assembly resumed plenary after the end of year holidays. Why Senate President Ahmed Lawan was saying INEC cannot afford to fail Nigerians. Cannot afford. Who had made that statement before? The president. The speaker was saying something different at about the same time in the House of Representatives. We need to support INEC. So we want to support INEC.
Sure.
We shouldn't. We have given you this. We have given you more. No, it's a collective effort. Thank you. Collective responsibility. What we should be talking, including we here, journalists, what do we do to support INEC to achieve that?
Let's look at the positives.
And one of those things is the trial.
Yeah,
the test one that
more calculation.
And I will invite all the political parties, when they are doing these things, they should be there.
Exactly.
So that on the day of election, they don't come and say something happened that they were not aware.
But if there's a date, it's about 37 days or so to the election, and they should have announced the date so that people will get ready ahead.
It won't be everywhere. I'm sure they will select certain polling units.
But I hope they will be very careful with the mock. So that mock results will not be transferred to the region.
No, they are just doing accreditation. They're not doing the election. Accreditation, and do you know why they are doing it? In 2015, we used card reader without doing any pre-trial. Any pre-trial. And that was why even a sitting president struggled to be accredited that day. Now, with Beavers, we have done some trial with off-season election here and there, and we know the success. But on a nationwide scale, we have not done it. So credit to INEC. A lot of civil society organizations